I love being in the flow. I love feeling source energy flowing through me.
You love being all that you are, present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My fiance and I was having this conversation one day where the hell yes, if it's not a hell yes, then don't do it.
If it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. Right now. But the point being, when it feels like that, there's plenty of momentum. And when you got that kind of momentum going, then good results, good moment.
So how do you distinguish? She decided that she wanted to go into real estate, and she wasn't sure about it. Now, I know you don't get it wrong, and she went for it, and she's doing great. But how do you distinguish, okay, I have these angst about it, I have these not sure.
You do, or you mean hypothetically anyone?
Yes, anyone.
Well, this is this conversation about ready to be ready to be ready, because through life, you've had enough experience that you've asked for a lot of things. And so there's a picture that is formulated vibrationally in what we are calling your vortex. And so it's calling you. So when you get an impulse to go, depending upon what your level of reception is, when you get an impulse to go, that's what that hell yes that you were talking about is. That's when you're really in sync and your inner being is calling you in a strong way and there's no resistance. So it just feels like, of course I'm going to do this. And really no one could talk me out of it. But if you're in a position where people could talk you out of it, then that means there's some active resistance in you that could be slowing it down. Now, as you said, nothing goes wrong because you can't get it wrong. You never get it done and you can't get it wrong because you can increase momentum right in the middle of something. It's just more difficult. For example, let's take the example that you've offered, that instead of waiting for the impulse to be so strong that there was just no denying it, let's say, could be this, could be this, could be this, I think I'll do this. So there's not that really strong awareness of momentum. But you commit to it. You go find somebody who will broker for you, or you find some real estate company to use their umbrella, so to speak, become part of that. And the more involved in it you become, the more you like it. In other words, you've jumped in and you've allowed the positive momentum to increase. But what if you jump in and on your first day, you meet someone there that says, I don't know why you're joining this firm. We hardly ever sell anything. So now you were only able to meet them because you really didn't have strong momentum. So now you're sort of reeling with that. So now a little bit of doubt's been introduced. So you want to do it, but your but factor, your I don't know if I'm doing the right thing factor is, and so now you have more to overcome. Once you're in the middle of the action, there is often more to overcome. Now, of course you can overcome it. Of course, you can use focus and you can care about it and you can succeed and you can come to believe more in your success and less in the negativity of others. Of course you can. But wouldn't it maybe have been easier, for sure, yes, not maybe, if you had lined yourself up, got your energy flowing, I'm going to do this, I'm ready to be 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 ready. And so a real estate company comes to you or occurs to you, or you become part of their team that is really having a lot of success, so that it's just logical because everyone on that team is having a good amount of success. Here's the thing that we really want you to focus upon. You can get anywhere you want to be from wherever you are. You just can. You don't have to have some perfect situation carved out for you. But you are all thinkers of thoughts that you've been thinking. And so a lot of times you think about something you want, which is like putting your engine on your train going that way. And then you think about it not happening, which is like putting your engine on your train going that way. So without even meaning to, most people have resistance on most subjects because you've been trained to be so objective. You weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses. And there are people all around you warning you and guarding you about things that could go wrong. And so if you can provide for yourself the luxurious state where you meditate and you quiet your mind, where you stop all thought, even the resistant thought, and you allow your vibration to rise. And then you receive an impulse about something, and you follow that impulse through, and you get to personally witness the unfolding of this non-resistant state of being. You'll reach the place where you won't be willing to do it the hard way anymore. There's so much leverage in alignment. Now, you can reach that hell yes without any knowledge of any of the things that we talk about, because the law of attraction abounds. None of you went to gravity school. Go to school, Johnny, because if you don't go to gravity school, you might fall up instead of down. We need to make sure that you stay on the ground with the rest of us. Law of attraction is a law that applies fairly across the board. Everyone has the experience of law of attraction, but it's so very helpful to you when you understand that you are emanating the signal that law of attraction is responding to. The way you feel is a clue of what you're emanating. So when you deliberately allow your vibration to increase toward the things that you want, before you take any action, this is the specific answer to your question. It's much easier to get momentum going before you take the action. All of you, whether it's a relationship that you are getting ready for, or whether it's a financial empire that you're getting ready for, more than 90% of it is in place before you buy the first brick to put in the first building, or before you hire the first employee. Vibrationally, you've got so much done. But then what happens, because you're not vibrationally oriented mostly, you're more what you see and hear and smell and taste and touch oriented. So you got all this momentum going. It's like a sure thing. You buy your business, or you join your business, or you start your job, or whatever it is, and then you start observing stuff around you. And as you observe it, then you lose that momentum. And so the more you can get going before you jump into action, the less likely you are to shoot yourself in the foot with the slowed down vibration that happens when you face reality. What if this is a real estate firm that's on its way to something that really matches what your fiance wants? What if the reason that she got that impulse is because her inner being knows that this is what she's looking for in terms of the vortex, but right now it's not quite what she's looking for, but it's getting ready to be ready as she's getting ready to be ready too. So if she waits for that timing so that she joins when that negative person has left the firm, rather than meets them at the front door and learns all the reasons that they're leaving, you see what we're getting at?
Yes, yes.
Everything is vibration, and everything is your thought. And you could step into any situation with your alignment with Source, and you could thrive. But you mostly don't do that because we love you so much, you're so nosy. Esther remembers, first job she applied for. They interviewed her for 3 days, gave her every test in the world. It was an accounting and secretarial job. They made her do shorthand. They made her do all the things that she was trained to do in those days. And they hired her from a pool of 100 girls. She was the one that they chose. And on the first day of her job, a girl took her under her wing and said, "Stay away from them. They talk bad about everybody. And don't go over there because that girl took money out of my purse. And don't go over there." And Esther received so much information about this terrible place that at lunchtime, she went to the nice lady who had put so much into the interview and hiring process. Esther said, "I'm not going to stay." And this lady was really mad because she liked what she had found in Esther. And she said, "May I ask why?" And Esther said, "Because I left high school behind and I don't want to go back. I don't want to go into petty." What Esther knows now is she would see that as, "Oh, this is really going to be fun. This is like meditating in the courtyard with the jets going over and maintaining my alignment even though there's jets going over." In other words, you certainly do not need to carve out a perfect environment for you to be in the receiving mode. You can thrive under any and all conditions. In fact, we don't want you to be conditional. We don't want you to need everything to be lined up just right, because that makes you really wimpy and worried in the world. Now you're having to sniff everything out, and if everything's not just right, you don't go, which means you don't go hardly anywhere very often. because there's hardly any condition that's just right. You want to be so in alignment that you've got your alignment going on no matter what's going on around you. And you can make wonderful things out of any environment. And so there's something sort of nice about not needing everything to be perfect. Isn't it nice to close that gap? Say yes. Because it's the carving out what you want and then you becoming vibrationally ready for what you want that creation is really about. It's you getting up to speed with your own desires. That's the only thing that matters. Nobody else has to fit in. Nobody else has to like the way you dance. Nobody else has to do anything. It's all between you and you. And when you get that, that's when you'll feel free. That's when you'll feel free.
Okay. So I was going to ask.
Now you're afraid though, right?
I was going to ask what happened before source energy, but that's in the past and we don't want to go there.
That's a really good realization because none of us can look that far back. We can tell you logically that in every particle of everything there is always wanted an absence of it. And that consciousness just continued to expand in that way. But, you're right. It is so much more productive to acknowledge who your source now is and what your relationship with that source now is, because that's where all your power is. That would be like going back before telephones or going back before wheels or fire or way back. We liked your question and we liked your answer and we liked that you knew your answer. Something more?
No.
Really good.
Thank you very much.